Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is June 5th, and we are here live with another edition of the Spin Zone. Here with your host, me, Spin Doc. And we have a lot of good options today. This for a Thursday, because normally Thursday, it's a moving day. You have day games, you have stuff like that. It is a lot of good here with a whole bunch of potential options. So we will get into it. We'll cover three pitchers today. Obviously, if during the course of the show there's any pitchers that we don't talk about that you want to go over, please make sure to drop them in the chat. And I'll make sure to get to it at the end. Also at the end with the other looks, do have some NBA Finals looks for you. NBA Finals looks for Game 1, which is tonight. And I'm actually pretty excited for the series, so I'll go over that in a little bit. But first things first, this show is being brought to you on behalf of the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. Got a bunch of new subscribers already. We are really pushing for that 1,000 count. We really appreciate the love. Helps us get our message out there. Helps us get our stuff out on YouTube more. We're almost there. So if you haven't yet, if you're not already, please subscribe to the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. Please follow me at Spin Doc Sports on X. Like the video, give it a share, give it some love. It helps us get our stuff out there, and we really appreciate it. All right. Before we get to the chat and before we get on with the business of the day, overall yesterday, it was okay. It was all right. Not the best, not the worst. VIP got was a hook away from another sweep. So overall, if you were in VIP, we finished 1-1. Overall, still hitting at 59.3% and in the win at the day VIP. If you want access to that, the link is in my bio. Get you in for a few days, get you in for a week, get you in for a month, whatever you want. We also, in addition to the baseball content and plays that I have going right now, also starting to get into some NFL content, some football content. Football's just around the corner. As those of you that know me know, I am a very big fantasy player. Dynasty, redraft, everything, auction, you name it. I actually probably play fantasy almost as big as I do baseball and props and other bets. So I've been doing that for almost 20 years and have a whole bunch of fantasy preview stuff where if I remember right, last year, people that were in VIP won a grand total of close to 15 to 17 championships and made too many playoffs to count using some of the stuff that I had put together for you. Can do custom draft boards, all that stuff. So know that is right around the corner. So if you are into that, that would be another reason to get in now, because I'm going to be providing daily updates throughout training camp. Daily updates on risers, fallers, guys who super sleepers. I got 2 or 3 of them already that I've already given out that I guarantee you no magazine, no ranking sheet, no cheat sheet will ever have on their stuff, so you can get them early. But this is baseball season. This is a baseball show, so let's talk about baseball. All right, what did we learn yesterday? So a couple things to take away from yesterday from my perspective. Number one, I talked about it with Sharpie, is Mackenzie Gore just is that dude. I mean, he's just straight up that dude. You don't fade him at home. He has become the National League's version of Tarek Skubal for me. And what I mean by that is unless the line just says something totally goofy and off, I'm just going to take him for at least a half a unit on his over every single home start, regardless of the situation, regardless of who it is. He's just that good. Got the Cubs 7 times last night. And while he did just barely go over his prop, the whole reason why I break down lineups is really, and go hitter by hitter, is really the crux of the Gore play. Because you look at the Cubs team against lefties, you look at the Cubs strikeout percentage, even the Nationals announcers were talking about it at the start of the game. The Cubs don't strike out a whole lot. No, as a team, they don't. But when you look into the details, you had 3 guys who had the potential to go down multiple times. So that was PCA, Crow Armstrong, Dansby Swanson, and Michael Busch. And Gore got them a total of 6 times. 6 out of his 7 strikeouts were from those guys. 3 for PCA. Or I'm sorry, no, 5 because PCA went down again. But he got PCA and Swanson twice and Busch once. When you have a line of 6.5, and you can get multiple guys multiple times, that just alleviates the pressure to get some of the other lower strikeout guys in the lineup. Like Nico Horner wasn't going to strike out. I knew that. Everybody who studies this knew that. There was also probably not a very high chance that Justin Turner was going to strike out. So you think 2 dead spots, fine. But 2 dead spots are offset by 2 guys who can strike out multiple times. And that's exactly what we had yesterday. And that's what you really have to look for some of these higher numbers, is that it's not about getting everybody once, or it's not about getting guys that he's, quote, not supposed to get. It's, are there guys in this lineup that can give you multiple Ks? And for a guy like Mackenzie Gore, against hitters like Dansby Swanson and Pete Crow Armstrong, there was multiple K potential galore, and that accounted for 4 of his 7 strikeouts. So 4 of his 7 strikeouts came from 2 guys. You get that, 6.5 is not that big of a number. And there can be multiple dead spots in that lineup galore, and you can be just fine. So elsewhere across Major League Baseball, another guy I want to talk about, even though it wasn't on him, didn't talk about him, and his game had already started by the time that we went on, is Andrew Abbott. Andrew Abbott just keeps churning out strikeouts, and I mean, I know how he's doing it, but it's like one of those ones you kind of like go like this and be like, I don't know how this guy's doing it, because his fastball is at like 92. His changeup is okay. His breaking stuff has decent spin, but the guy just goes out there and just pummels locations and just perfectly places pitches. He has just been a master this year of hitting the corners and hitting the very, very bottom of the zone, and forcing guys to swing at horribly placed pitches because he has such perfect locations. So Andrew Abbott has hit his overprop in multiple of his last games. I think the only one he didn't was when the first time he faced the Cubs. And this is a guy where I'm not sure how many more 4.5s that we're going to get for this dude. We might get a few in division games because there's some poor past history, but man, his locations have just been perfect this year. So Andrew Abbott is a guy where I'm through looking at a lot of his past history, and normally I'm not like super excited to take a junk baller on an over if he doesn't have a 4-seam fastball or some kind of fastball as an out pitch, which Abbott does not. But man, this dude's location is perfect. So Andrew Abbott's going to be on my radar big time going forward. He has really been impressive. I am very, very slowly becoming a fan of Mr. Abbott. Elsewhere, we talked about him yesterday, and oh, did he ever prove me wrong? I said stay away. So if you did, it didn't cost you anything. But there were some warning signs that Chris Sale would not be the Chris Sale that we saw against Philly, where he came out and pitched angry. And oh my goodness, did he ever. Absolutely blitzed the Diamondbacks for 10 strikeouts across 6 innings. It was kind of a Blake Snell experience, Chris Sale experience start, because he did walk 4. So and threw 103 pitches, but the 10 strikeouts just making guys whiff. And the big thing with Sale was his fastball, because his slider is going to get guys. His changeup can get guys, but the main thing is if his velo on his 4-seam is in the 95, 96 range, and then he can even run it up to 97, 98, that's when it can be used as an out pitch. It's kind of like a version of Kevin Gausman, because when Kevin Gausman's 4-seamer is running in that 93 to 94 and topping out at 95 range, he doesn't K many guys. Same thing with Chris Sale. But when Sale can run his 4-seamer up in that 97, 98 range, it becomes a third out pitch. And then guys have to be aware that it might be coming on 2 strike counts, and you're just going to get the slider, which can run away from hitters and out of the zone. So his fastball was smoking last night. So shout out to Chris Sale. I freely admit I just stayed off of it. I was never looking at an under there. I just passed on it, and he went and torched the Diamondbacks. So that is a situation where the next time that Sale pitches at home, regardless of the situation, regardless of the line, I am going to take that and commit that to memory. So Those are the big things from yesterday. I want to give a shout out to all of those in the chat. I see a whole bunch of people in here. Mom Who Bets, happy Thursday. Good morning, always with us. Happy Thursday to Philip Magruder as well. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Tristan saying happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Oh, Brent Keeks. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show. And thank you for joining the Discord. Hope you're enjoying yourself in there. And let's see, Joe Daniel, welcome in. We got a hitters parlay, so I'll leave that up for a second in case anybody wants to get in on that. We got Ronald Acuna Jr. to get a hit, Braves money line, and the over 6.5. So it's a same game parlay if your book allows it. Ronald Acuna Jr. to get a hit, the Braves money line, and the over 6.5 from Joe Daniel. And then sorry, you asked a question. Do I like? So I'm not the best hitters prop guy in the world to talk to, but I can tell you my quick analysis is that the Braves money line I actually like quite a bit. The over I like quite a bit as well. That was actually going to be the over for that game, or the Braves team total over, was going to be one of my other looks and leans at the very end, because Fott's earned runs, the juice is up slightly, and his outs recorded is down from 17.5 to 15.5. Normally a 2-out drop like that, or at least it opened at 15.5. It might be up to 16.5 now, but normally a 2-out drop indicates that there's at least some thought among the books that the pitcher is going to get kind of crunched. So Acuna is just looking at what his lifetime is against Font. He's just 1 for 3, but obviously he's going to see him 3 times most likely and have a lot of chances to get on. So yeah, I like that one quite a bit actually. So and just not to spoil later for looks and leans, for other looks and leans, but the Braves team total over was going to be one of them, just because the outs for Fott, the drop for that, and the increase in the juice for his earned runs, telling me that there's at least a little bit of a chance. I don't want to touch his strikeouts because there's a lot of guys in this lineup that do swing pretty aggressively. So it is possible where he could K5 and just get absolutely like torched. But the earned runs over, maybe. But the Braves team total over was the one that I was looking at. So, yep, definitely. And Roger saying good morning, and good morning to you as well. Cash the ladder with Schmidt up to 8. Clark Schmidt. Yeah, the Guardians, man. I've said it about the Guardians on here before. And while the top 4, if the top 4, or top 3 really, Kwan, Ramirez, Santana, you have very, very low K potential, very high contact, et cetera, et cetera. But after that, man, there's just not a lot of guys. Naylor would be one of them. But when you talk about Manzanardo, you talk about Schneemann, you talk about Arias, talk about Noel, you talk about Wilson, those guys, every single one of them has either high chase or low contact in either the zone or chasing or both. And so after those top 3, it's just blah. One thing that I've found when the Guardians organize their lineup like that, when Kwan, Ramirez, and Santana all 3 bat, is I've actually started to look at, are there potential live spots, meaning if the top 3 are unlikely to K, and then the rest of the lineup is that blah I talked about, can you just wait till after the first inning? Now, we were trying to do that in VIP earlier this week when Rodon pitched. The problem is that 2 of them got on base, and then he faced the 2 high strikeout guys, and Rodon got 2 Ks in the first inning, which then the live line was like 7.5, heavy juice to the over, and which he actually hit anyway. But what I'm saying is, what I was trying to do is to get a 0 K first inning, 1, 2, 3, and then get either a better price on a 6.5, or even get it down to a 5.5, depending on what his pitch count was. That's a scenario that I have been looking for spots to run with the Guardians, just because they are so top and bottom heavy when it comes to Ks. So Kwan, Santana, Ramirez, all very low strikeout candidates to any pitcher, any type of pitcher, anywhere. And then after that, if you're just want to commit this to memory, the guys you want in the lineup, you want Manzardo, you want Arias for sure, you want Noel, and Schneemann is probably a good one. Wilson's fine too. Like those guys, whew, they can strike out to a lot of different pitchers. So awesome, Roger. Glad you hit. Cover Kings in the house with a few of them for us. Cover Kings, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Saying 1 unit Max Fried over 5.5, 1 unit Brady Singer over 5.5, and 1 unit, we just talked about this, so this actually correlates nicely. Brandon Pfaadt over 5.5 hits allowed at plus 100. Yeah, there's just so many indicators that the Braves are going to put up some runs today and potentially just beat the living hell out of Brandon Pfaadt. Godspeed KD saying good morning to you as well. And saying, and I have a correction on the Cover Kings one in just a second. Godspeed KD saying, morning NBA finals are here. Thunder up. Yeah. It's going to be hard to pick against them. I learned my lesson when obviously I watched them, for the 5 games in a row against the Wolves. Not only are they the most complete team in the NBA, but they also play their asses off. And, we'll get to that in a minute, but free throw merchant jokes aside is that game respects game. And this team deserves to be where they're at, and they probably deserve to win the NBA championship. Will they? We'll get to that in just a little bit. Cover Kings correction. So not Brady Singer. So for those of you that are watching, if you wanted to follow that, it's a unit on Chris Bassett over 5.5, not Brady Singer. Oh, that's right, because Brady Singer pitched not too long ago. So Chris Bassett over 4.5. All right. That is the chat. That is the business. Let's get on with it. Let's talk about our first pitcher for the day. All 3 of these are afternoon games. So all 3 of these start at 3:45 p.m. Eastern or earlier. So the first one of which would be Jesus Luzardo. The lefty is up in Toronto today, the other side of the matchup that Cover Kings just talked about. And the lefty is striking guys out at a 27.4% clip, walking guys at 7.4. He gets Blue Jays again at 3:07 p.m. with a juiced on both sides, over and under at 5.5. All righty. So we have Mr. Luzardo here, and here I see a few things. So when I look for Luzardo, I do always look for chase, and I look for either do they chase a lot or chase contact. And obviously, if you got both, it's a double whammy. Reason being is because, Luzardo does spend 49.5% of the time in the zone. The problem becomes is that his fastball is not really an out pitch. It only generates a 17.8% whiff percentage. That's well under pitcher average. Now, his sweeper, which runs out of the zone, which runs this away out of the zone, boy, does it ever. 48.1%. It's just a lethal pitch when he's got it moving. So if you're going to chase and you're going to have whiff to a sweeper, then you're going to be in trouble against Jesus Luzardo. We've talked about this with the Blue Jays before, is that when they have a chase lineup in, there is the potential. There's obviously the potential for him to get maybe a little bit touched up if they can make good chase contact, but there's also the potential for strikeouts. The Blue Jays, think about Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty doesn't even have as high velo of a fastball as Luzardo does, but has good chase stuff, has a great slider that actually runs in a similar fashion to the sweeper that Luzardo throws, even though it's lefty righty. And Flaherty got his strikeouts. You saw Dylan Cease got his strikeouts in Toronto, and he throws out of the zone. So we're looking for guys that swing out of the zone and or don't make contact. So in this lineup right now, the projected lineup is 2 lefties and 7 righties. I will make a note of this just because it's so significant. This year, Luzardo is striking out lefties at 44.4%. Absurd. And he has a big disparity between lefties and righties because righties are only at 21.9%. Now, 2 lefties, 7 righties is what he's usually facing, somewhere in that range, 3.6 or 2.7. So we look at the number of guys that do chase at or above league average in this lineup. And typical for a Blue Jays lineup, we get 6 of the 9. The only ones that don't are Vladdy, Springer, and Davis Schneider. Now, with 2 of them being Springer and Davis Schneider, we also catch a little bit of a break. Reason being is because Springer's chase contact is 42.5%, which is well under average. Davis Schneider's is even worse at 41.7. So both of those two do not make contact when they chase. Schneider has never faced Luzardo. Springer has only 1K in 6 plate appearances. I factor that in a little bit, but that is really just 2 games. It's also been the last time they faced each other. It's also been a different version of Springer. Springer has had a lot of more contact problems this year than previous years. The other thing you have with Springer is that he does whiff to a sweeper 46.7% of the time. So between Springer and Schneider, the 2 of the guys that don't chase, you can probably mark them up for $1.5 grand total. I wouldn't be surprised if one strikes out. He can get them both, but between the 2 of them, I'm going 1.5. Now, the other guy that doesn't chase is Vladdy Guerrero. Vladdy has some great contact metrics. It's high. I don't think that Luzardo has a great chance of getting him, so we'll mark him off as a minimum or a 0.25. So between the guys that don't chase, we got about 1.75. Now the question becomes, can we get to 6 with the rest of the lineup? Bo Bichette, who's projected to lead off, and I'm sure will, has a very, very good contact percentage against a sweeper, chases a lot, but also makes a great amount of chase contact. I probably got him for a 50-50. Alejandro Kirk, who is projected to be in that cleanup, I have, he chases about league average, but makes fantastic contact when he does and doesn't whiff to a sweeper. He's going to be tough to get. So you got 2 probably deader spots here with Vladdy and with Kirk. Don't really count on a ton of strikeouts or potential strikeouts from that area. Moving down the list, though, it gets a little better because you got Barger in the 5 hole. He is a lefty, so you got the disparity there again. And he also chases at league average, but makes poor chase contact. That's an easy 1 for me. So now we're starting to get to that 5-6 plateau. The other one, and this is the one that at least one of these 2, I'm hoping that they don't run today because I'm sure Vladdy will be in. I'm hoping that they don't run Kirk or Clement. Reason being is both don't whiff to a sweeper. Both have fantastic chase contact, and both of them just have overall good contact and low K percentage against lefties in general. So if you get all those 3, Vladdy, Kirk, and Clement, then we're going to need help from some other spot in the lineup to get to 6 if that's where you want to go with this one. Davis Schneider, I'd already talked about him with his contact stuff. I have to put him for a 1 as well. Miles Straw, by the contact metrics, you wouldn't necessarily think would be a K candidate because he makes phenomenal chase contact. However, he has struck out 3 out of 7 times to Luzardo, so he can be a 50-50 or a little bit better. And then Jimenez at the bottom has some he chases a lot and has some very, very subpar contact metrics in the zone. So I'll go through all this again here, is that right now I'm coming up right at 5.5. And I know that that's just kind of puts us in no man's land, but this is why we wait for lineups. The umpire isn't probably going to be a help one way or the other. Adrian Johnson is a very neutral umpire. His Ks and walks and tendencies are very average. It doesn't really play into either side very well. So what I'm looking for is a few things. Is that if you want the over, what I'm looking for is to not have any of these guys in. Vladdy, but I'm sure he'll be in. Kirk and Clement. Kirk and Clement are the 2 that if one of them is out and they're replaced by, say, like Luke's or somebody like that, that can be a very easy trigger for an over. If you're looking at an under, if you trust the overall contact rate for the Blue Jays, the guys you don't want in are, you don't want Barger in, and you don't want Davis Schneider in. Actually, what you'd probably prefer is that the Blue Jays just go 9. Is that the Blue Jays just go 9 righties But I'm not 100% convinced after the first 3 or 4 what they're going to do. Again, Alejandro Kirk would be nice to not have in, but I'm pretty sure he will be today. So right now, this is a very wait and see on the lineup. If you have to play it right now, or you want to play it right now and you have no other choice, what I would recommend doing is I'd recommend pulling it down to 5, because I think there's paths to 5 no matter what lineup they roll out there, and pairing it with something else that you like. As far as if you want the over 5.5, you're going to have to wait and see, because if Kirk or Clement are out, then it becomes a much easier path to that 6. All right. Moving on, a guy that's a little more cut and dry from my perspective, Mr. Dylan Cease. Mr. Dylan Cease out in San Francisco, striking guys out at a 29% rate and walking guys at a 7% clip. He gets the Giants today at 3:45 p.m. Eastern, and we have an over 6.5 at plus 120. This is up from his usual road metrics, which is 5.5, and we get an under 6.5. And we get an at under 6.5 at a pretty heavily juiced minus 155. All right. So Cease on the road. He's very iffy to this number. In fact, he's only hit it twice, once at Atlanta and once out in New York. So what we always have to look for when you see Cease is you have to look for chase. Reason being is Cease does spend 46% of his time in the zone, one of the lower marks among all pitchers who are going today. And when he does, he only generates a 42.3% zone contact rate, which is absolutely ridiculous. We've talked many times about how his slider is one of the filthiest in Major League Baseball. His four-seam fastball is kind of a middling pitch when it comes to being able to be used as an out pitch. He can crank it up and get guys with it, but it's usually the slider, curve, changeup that can actually get guys, slider specifically. So I'm always looking for chase, and I'm always looking for chase contact. Now, first and foremost, with this projected Giants lineup, that is 4 lefties and 5 righties. We have past history galore, and it is so positive. Oh, so positive. Chapman struck out 7 out of 16 times, 43.8%. Adames, 5 out of 11 times, 45.5%. Yaz, if he's in, I know he wasn't yesterday, but if Yaz is in, good Lord, 8 Ks and 13 plate appearances, 61.5% K percentage. And then you have a few others that, like Ramos is 2 for 6. The only guy that has faced him any reasonable number of times that doesn't like just strike out on the regular against Dylan Cease is Jung-Hoo Lee. And Jung-Hoo Lee does not strike out against virtually anybody. So, there are potentials galore if this is the lineup that we get. So we look at this lineup, 4 lefties, 5 righties, and we look at how many of these guys chase. And what I'm coming up with is 6 of the 9 guys chase at or above league average. Now, only 3 of them are under league average in chase contact, but you have to couple that with the fact that Cease is so elite at making guys miss when they chase that even if you're just slightly above league average, Cease can take you down a peg. So what I'm really looking for guys that I think that can just negate that, I'm looking for guys that are like way above league average. And I see 3. The 3 that are way above are Jung-Hoo Lee, who's not going to strike out anyway. I see Flores, who is at 66.4%. And I also see that and then the other one that I see is Yaz, who has struck out 8 out of 13 times to Cease. So Yaz I have for a strikeout or even 1+. Adames I have for a strikeout or even 1+. Chapman I have for a strikeout or even 1+. These guys combined have struck out against this man 20 times in less than 50 plate appearances, almost a 40% K rate for those three guys who are projected to bat in the 4, 5, 6 holes. Now, you go to the bottom of the lineup and you have Bailey and Fitzgerald. Both of these guys chase. Both of these guys have horrendous chase contact. So I have to give them both one, even though lifetime they are 2 for 8 and 0 for 3. I still have to give one because they both chase, and this version of Cease is one that thrives a lot more on chase. So between all of those guys, you got 6 right there. You got 6 between 5 guys right there. Then the question becomes, if you take Jung-Hoo Lee out, I have to take Flores out. Both of those are probably unlikely to K. Between Ramos and Dominic Smith, can he get one of those guys, or can he get one of these other guys, even like multiple guys, twice? Well, Ramos does chase a lot, makes contact slightly above league average. Cease has got him 2 out of 6 times. He also does have a high whiff percentage to a 4-seam fastball. Dom Smith has just joined the team, and so I didn't use his this season average because he just joined them. But I did use lifetime average, and it is a good amount of chase with only slightly above chase contact. The reason why I'm saying this here is you have many paths to 7 on this one, and you have plus money, and you have a pitcher who has great past history against some of these guys. I'm still waiting for a lineup because especially with last game of series, the Giants have been known to do weird things, weird shit with their lineup. So the guys that I want in, pretty easy for me: Chapman, Adames, Yaz, I want in for sure. I would love to have Bailey and Fitzgerald in. The only guy that I can really, so 2 guys that I'm sure they'll be in, that I would say I'd rather not have in, would be Jung-Hoo Lee and Flores. If we get this projected lineup and either Lee or Flores aren't in, this is such an easy over. There's just so much past history here. There's so much chase in this lineup, and there is very, very poor chase contact. The other thing you have to keep in mind is that league average whiff percentage to a slider is about 32.5, 33%. And you do have half this lineup that has a whiff percentage above it, including Bailey and Fitzgerald, who are 36.7 and almost 50 respectively. So tons of paths to 7 here, tons of opportunity and plus money. This, if you have to bet it now, I would absolutely take a look at the over. Under is never an option in this case. So, but I am going to see what the Giants do for their lineup. The other bonus that we get is behind the plate. We get Will Little, who averages about 17 strikeouts, which is above umpire average, and is for the most part a pitcher's umpire. So even if the guys that do want to take, you have a slight advantage there. So Dylan Cease, very, very clear overlook for me. There's not a whole lot of lineups that the Giants could put out that would make me not want to at least take a half unit shot. And let's see. Godspeed KD saying Pavetta embarrassed Flores last night. Yeah, that he did. He didn't hit his K prop, but he sure did. And saying Cease is better during the day as well. Yep. And Daryl Turner, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Love the over. Yeah, I do too. I do too with the past history, with the chase. There's not many other dead spots that the Giants could even run here. So what I'm really hoping for is that, because the Giants on moving days and on last days of series, because the Giants will host the Braves tomorrow, they sometimes do give guys days off, like regular guys. I'm just begging them, like, please give Flores the day off. Please give Jung-Hoo Lee the day off. You do that and you put this projected lineup in, and this is just such an easy over value for me. So, all right, next up and last up for the pitchers we're going to cover, same game, the Robbie Ray experience. Since Blake Snell remains on the injured list, I have to I have to give the nickname to the next closest thing, and it is Robbie Ray. 27.8% strikeout percentage, 10.7% walk percentage, and he gets the Padres at home. And this one is about what I expected, a heavily juiced 5.5, which is partially the quote unquote Padres tax given their overall contact metrics, and a plus money under 5.5. All right, Robbie Ray. So if you don't know about the whole Blake Snell, Robbie Ray experience, just real quickly, is that the reason why I call Blake Snell the Blake Snell experience is because it doesn't matter what side of him you're on, what bet you're on. If you bet him in any fashion, over, under, get torch them, good, bad, otherwise, there will be points in the during his start where you will think you're the greatest capper in the world, he's the greatest pitcher in the world, and this is easy street. There will also be times where you will think, F this guy, I hate him, I'm never betting on him again. This is too heartburn inducing. It's just the way that both of them pitch. They live on the edge. And so my first piece of advice is that if you don't like that in your plays, if you don't like having that potential volatility and roller coaster ride, then Robbie Ray and got Blake Snell when he's in, Robbie Ray is not for you because it will happen. It's just who he is. I'm giving you fair warning. Now, Robbie Ray is a pitcher. So does spend 50.5% of his time in the zone and is making guys miss, 80.7% zone contact. But the real thing with Robbie Ray is the chase. I talked about how Dylan Cease's chase contact was down in the 42% range. Robbie Ray almost as good, 44.7, and he does make guys chase above league average. So I'm using chase as a primary metric here. And with this projected Padres lineup, which is 4 lefties and 5 righties, we do have 6 of the 9 guys that do chase above league average. There's actually a lot of chase in this lineup. And if you look at the Padres team metrics over the course of both the past 2 weeks and the season, you do see that there is a lot of chase. They swing the bat a lot outside of the zone. Now, the other side of that is they also make a lot of great contact when they do. The only one who does not make contact above league average when they chase that's in this projected lineup is Fernando Tatis. Now, I'll couple that a little bit because if I'm giving Cease credit for being such a chase whiff pitcher, I have to give Robbie Ray credit as well. So a lot of these guys, which by the way, league average for chase for individual hitters is about 55 to 56%. So normally if a guy is above 60%, that's when I start saying, okay, he can get over the hump of like what a good chase contact pitcher is. And in that lineup, anything over 60%, I see 2. I see Arise and I see Campusano. Arise, we'll just get him out of the way right now. I have him as a straight 0. He's not going to strike out. He has a 1.7%. That's a real number. K percentage against lefties this year. His career strikeout percentage against lefties, I believe, is close to under 10. He has a 90% contact rate inside and outside of the zone. He also doesn't whiff to any of the pitches Robbie Ray throws. He will not strike out. It's a total dead spot if he's in. We'll move on. Now, can Robbie Ray get 6 from the rest of the lineup? Now, we get a good bonus because if Maldonado is going to be in, which I would assume he is because he's caught Cease most often this year, if Maldy's going to be the catcher, then Maldy has a very strong K percentage against lefties. He whiffs to every pitch Robbie Ray throws. He is not in for his offense. He's in the 9-hole for a reason, and Robbie Ray has already gotten him multiple times. So Arise and Maldy kind of cancel each other out. Those two can combine for 1. The only reason why Maldy isn't higher than a 1 and a 1+ is because he's in the 9-hole, and Robbie Ray's starts typically don't last that long for him to face him 3 times. If Robbie Ray faces him 3 times, there is the potential for 2 strikeouts, but I still, if he's going to face him twice, I got to put him down for 1. Going through the rest of the lineup, the other guys that chase, and I'll go first in the guys that chase a lot, Jackson Merrill And again, Campusano. Campusano, I got to put down for a half because he does make chase contact over 60%. It's actually almost 64%, so it's pretty good. Hasn't faced Robbie Ray and also does not have a very strong whiff percentage to a slider or to change your curve, which are his main out pitches. Robbie Ray's fastball, decent. It's average, 22.5% whiff percentage. It's okay. It's in the 94, 95 range. It's not something like when I think fastball is an out pitch, just to review it again. I think Tarek Skubal. I think Mackenzie Gore. I think guys that can just run that four-seamer up. Spencer Strider would be another one when he's got it working. Jacob deGrom can be another one when he's got it working. Guys that can just crank the velo up, or guys that run it up in 95 to 9. Chris Sale, another one, 95 to 97 range and have superb placement. Robbie Ray has neither one. So he's got an okay rating to me on both. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a lot of whiff on the out pitches and basically the chase pitches. I don't see it with Campusano. I do see it a little bit with Jackson Merrill. I also see that Jackson Merrill does have a kind of average to above average zone contact. So I think that Ray can definitely get him for one. The other guy that I think Ray can get for one is Sheets, who does chase above league average and makes contact just barely above league average and also strikes out 26.5% of the time to lefties. So that to me is a 1. Merrill is a 1. Jake Cronenworth is a 1 because Ray's already got him before, and his chase contact is below league or right at league average. Now, that gets me, all of that gets me to about 5. And so where I'm coming up with here is that what do we do or what happens with Fernando Tatis? And here's why I'm saying this. Fernando Tatis does chase below league average, but his chase contact is horrendous, 43.7%. So it's a good thing that he doesn't. He does have an above average whiff percentage to a slider. He's faced Ray 7 times though, and he's only struck out once. Now, 2 games, so you can't put a whole lot of stock in it, but 7 plate appearances is it's starting to get to be enough to see it. So for me, the key here is it, because I'm sure Tatis will lead off, and I'm sure Tatis will face him 3 times. Do I think that Robbie Ray can get Tatis? And there's a 50-50 chance. I have him as a straight 0.5, and I have it literally as a 50-50 shot. If Tatis if Ray can get Tatis in one of the projected 3 times that he's going to face him, I think that there's 5 other strikeouts out there, especially when you factor in Merrill, Sheets, Cronenworth, and Maldonado. Because then I have dead spots, a complete dead spot in Arias. I have a deader spot of almost a dead spot in Xander Bogaerts because he's only K'd 3 out of 18 times against Ray. So then that, again, it all adds up to 5, and then it's Fernando Tatis. Now the guys, if you want an over for Ray, the guys that you don't want in, Arias is obvious. You don't want him in. You don't want Bogaerts in. And you're probably not going to want Campusano in. So those, if one of those 3 is out and replaced by say an Elias Diaz or something, I don't know if he will because he's a catcher, but somebody like that, yeah, then the over might make sense. The problem with an under here for me, and why I'm probably looking over or nothing on Ray, is because if he does pitch deeper into the game, and if Maldonado is catching, even in the 9 hole, if he faces Maldonado 3 times, that's a potential for 2 Ks. On a 5.5 line, if you get one guy that is going to K multiple times, it becomes hard. It just puts so much pressure on the rest of the guys to just not strike out at all. And you have strikeout potential with Sheets, Cronenworth, and Merrill in this lineup. So if Maldi is in, I can't look anywhere but the over here because his contact metrics are just so poor. And again, he's not in for his offense. And I'm not shitting on Maldi at all. I actually love Maldi as a catcher. I just know that he's just a strikeout waiting to happen. And everybody, including Maldi himself, knows that he's not in for his offense. He's in for his defense and his ability to call games because he's an elite defensive catcher. So Overall, I have a slight lean on the over here if this is the lineup that we get, because I do think there's a 50 to 60% chance that he can get Tatis despite the past history. The chase is what does it for me. But right now, this line is set pretty accurately for what it should be. So I'm going to wait to see what adjustments happen after the lineup is released for Robbie Ray. All right, we got some other looks, other sides, totals, stuff. I saw some questions in here. We got, let's see, Roger asking, so many good pitcher versus pitcher matchups today. There are indeed. Thoughts on Framber and Mitch Keller? Framber Valdez and Mitch Keller. Yeah, Framber, I think, is set where he should be. The fact that they didn't move him to a 6.5 was a little, I don't want to say concerning. It was it just tells me that they're expecting him to have a regular start. The 18.5 outs is what he normally is at. The 1.5 runs juiced to the over 5. Like his lines are all pretty normal. The problem that I have with Framber, a potential problem for me, is that he does spend 51.4% of his time in the zone. The Pirates do take a lot. The problem is that when they don't chase, so he generates a chase rate over league average, but the problem becomes the Pirates don't chase, and Framber allows almost 90% zone contact. He just does not make guys miss in the zone. So you're going to have to get them to chase, and this is not the team that chases. So that's what led me probably a little bit off. But in that lineup, their potential lineup, there obviously are a whole bunch of guys who can rack up the Ks. So on the other side of that lineup with Mitch Keller is I had him down at first as somebody to maybe look at. There's no outs prop for Keller right now, and I do see that there's at least a 50% chance of rain. I don't think I got to see if this is going to potentially be an issue, because another thing is that they're probably going to start this game maybe late. The only problem with taking an over for either one of these guys is that there's like scattered showers moving in around game time. So there could be an in-game delay, and in-game delays kill overs. That's probably, I'm assuming, why Keller doesn't have an outs prop. The Keller's hits prop being at 6.5 is nothing new. That just speaks to how deep he usually goes in games. And when he's facing this many guys and within this Astros lineup, especially at the projected bottom of it, the 4.5 just becomes such a low bar to clear. And I know Mitch Keller is not like a strikeout pitcher, and I know the Astros have had just crazy good contact, but I think it's set pretty fairly. So if I can't look over on either side because of the potential for rain or for a delay. If you wanted anything from that game, I probably wouldn't look at the pitchers. What I would probably look at would be the under 7.5 would be where I look if you want anything in that game. And then Tristan had said curious on Framber. So yeah, same reason. The potential for in-game delay, anytime there's a potential rain in the forecast, even for like the middle of the game, or just potential. I'll check the radar right before first pitch just to make double sure. But even if there's a 50-50 chance, there are almost no pitchers in Major League Baseball where if there's any reasonable rain delay, like 25, 35 minutes or longer, that the manager will say, yep, go ahead, warm me up, and warm you up and get back out there, essentially. So normally it just kills props because the pitcher then is pulled. And then if the game finishes, it's official, and it counts. And then Kid Keon asking thoughts about Brian Wu. So yeah, it's over or nothing for me for that one. Baltimore, my God. I mean, how many times they strike out to Emerson Hancock last night? Like 8. I mean, he made him just look silly. And this is a guy who was averaging 3 strikeouts a game. So the Brian Wu, for those that don't know, just absolutely lives and dominates in the zone. He has one of the, if not the highest zone contact or zone rates, and a very solidly low zone contact. The So it's a double-edged sword here because as a team, the Orioles have one of the highest swing rates in the zone over the last few weeks, and their overall contact metrics are very, very average. So I need to see who they're going to put in this lineup. I've also seen the Orioles on moving day put in some really, really gross and disgusting lineups before, like that one that Tarek Skubal struck out like, I don't know, it felt like 30 on a Sunday. So it's a travel day, it's a moving day, and so obviously guys that I wouldn't want in if I want to look at an over. Adley would be nice to have out. O'Hearn would be nice to be out, and Urias is probably fine, but Adley and O'Hearn are the two main ones that if either one of them are out, then it becomes an absolutely clear overlook because both of those guys have superb zone contact rates. All right. So other sides, leans, looks, etc. If you're looking at a money line today, a few of the money lines that I don't mind at all are, I think the Blue Jays at even money can make sense. Kind of goes back to, I know Cover Kings had said about Bassett potentially having a good start, and there are guys that have some really good matchup related things against Luzardo, so I don't mind that one at all. As much as I would like to see my Twins sweep, and I hope they do, there actually is value on a plus 165 for the Athletics going today. Zebby Matthews is okay, but not lights out. And the other one, I think there was one more. The Rangers at plus 125 is the other one to me that has just a little bit of value. I'm not sure that I would go crazy on that one. And then Padres at plus 100 with the projected. If we get this projected lineup and cease, especially Padres first five. For totals, the big one for me, the first game of the day, I think that the under 8 or under 8.5 for the Royals Cardinals, I actually wanted it last night with the same pitchers and same projected lineups. So I'm probably going to take a look at that one today. And then the Orioles and Mariners under 7.5. If Rushman or Hearn are out, I think you can also look at the Orioles team total under. Wu has had some really good starts at home, and I think that will do it. Now, on to the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals kick off tonight, Pacers versus Thunder. A couple looks that I personally like tonight. There's in VIP later today, for those of you that are watching that are in it, I am going to post some series props and some like longer shots and stuff like that. But I do like the over for this one. Both of these teams have just incredibly fluid offenses. They both move the ball exceptionally well. Obviously, free throw merchant jokes aside, there's the potential for that, but really both of these teams just have athletes upon athletes upon athletes. And yes, the Thunder's defense is pretty phenomenal, but Indiana's ball movement throughout the playoffs has just been absolutely fantastic. Siakam has been playing out of his mind. So over 230 is a big total. I don't care. I can very easily see this one being played closer to 240. So over 230.5 would definitely be a look that I would take. If you want it on the game itself, 9.5 is a big number. While I do think that the Thunder at home are probably 10 points better than the Pacers, Indiana is just playing so overall well right now. And what they're doing is that they also have so many three-point shooters, where the Thunder allow the most corner threes in the league. And they actually allow a lot of three-pointers, or they concede a lot of three-pointers in general. Reason why that is primarily is because they pressure so much up top, is that they run this shell trap on ball handlers in the hopes that you're going to try to throw it cross court or skip it across court so they can get steals. What that leaves you susceptible to is it leaves you susceptible to skips to the corner. So there's shooters upon shooters upon shooters on the Pacers. And so the Pacers even shoot a reasonable percentage. They can stay in this game. So a slight lean on the Pacers at plus 9.5, but the over for sure, the Pacers team total for sure. as far as the game itself, I do think Oklahoma City wins, but I'm not paying minus 420 for a money line. I think that if Indiana is going to steal a game, it would be game 2. I think the other thing that I might look for is I might look at Indiana's spread in the first quarter. Oklahoma City has been off for a few more days, and I can see that there's the potential. It's actually happened to more than a few playoff teams where you've had more rest isn't always the best. We're either a first quarter or a first half look on the Indiana spread, maybe even a first quarter money line. But if you're asking me who wins the game, Oklahoma City. If you're asking me who wins the series, I think Oklahoma City 4-2 or 4-3, one of those two. So, all right. That is going to do it for today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Before we close, if you haven't yet, please give this video a like. Please give it a share. Give it a follow. I'm at Spin Doc Sports on X, and also please make sure to subscribe to the Daily Bread Network. It really helps us get our stuff out there. We really appreciate it. One last time through the chat, Mom Who Bets, Philip, Tristan or Ben Creeksmore, Joe, Roger, Cover Kings, Godspeed KD, Daryl, and Kid Keon. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the love. And no show by myself tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time with Sharpie's Bets for the Walking Dead. We have six pitchers to cover tomorrow. So we will go through all of that with you. Best of luck on whatever you're tailing. We'll see you then.